We're talking about U35s. U23s, the Olympics is going on right now.
Yeah.
A long time ago, 16 years ago, you were in the Olympics. What do you remember about that experience as an 18-year-old in 2000?
Awesome. I'm a huge sports fan, always have been. The Olympics, forget about the soccer piece, just as the experience of being in Sydney, around all that, being in the village, seeing all of that, was one of the best experiences of my life. And it's actually, that's the sad part for me that we're not in the Olympics on the men's side. So we have all these kids that don't have the opportunity to experience that. So it's sad on one level, it's a little disturbing on another level that we're not qualifying for a tournament like this, but we've got to remedy that quickly.
Yeah, that's since that you guys finished fourth in 2000. U.S. has only made one Olympics in men's soccer in the last four.
Right.
Why is that?
It's a good question. I wish I could just say, well, once or twice or three times we had one bad game in the game that mattered in qualifying that made it so we couldn't go. But the reality is if that happens three times out of the last four, that's a trend, right? And so we need to look at it seriously. My personal opinion is that we're not developing players that are capable enough consistently to do well at this level. And so that goes, I mean, that's a big, long discussion for another day probably, but we need to do a better job at a young age of developing these kids.